Hey YouTube, so today I'm going to be installing these airbags on my 2016 Ram 1500 pickup truck. The kit I'm doing is 60818. I got it for, I think it was like 80 bucks. So I mean, it's a pretty good price, you know, for what you're getting, I believe. These are good for 1,000 pounds. They do offer a heavy duty version, which I'd like to say is 1,500 or 2,000 pounds. The price went up pretty substantially though, so I'm just going to stick with this. I think those are around, I don't know, 150-ish, I'd like to say. I can leave a link in the description below, and you guys can check that out. But yeah, so pretty much what you're doing, because our trucks have coil springs in the rear, you're actually just going to slip this bellow, which is right here, up into your coil spring, and then there's a bushing up here that'll protect this valve core here. Basically, that's where your air line's going to attach, and then this just sits in there and kind of floats in there, and then your air line will come out the top of the shock or the spring mount, and then you'll route it to the back of the truck where I'll install a T, which will connect both sides together, so I only have one valve for filling it up. So ideally, you know, then it'll just stay the same pressure and you don't have to worry about fluctuations because they'll both be at the same PSI. The only downside to doing it this way versus the independent is if like you have a permanent, you know, fixture in the back of your truck, say a gas tank or something, or diesel tank on one side or anything like that, then you might want to do the independent so you can leave a little more pressure in the one side to offset the other. So yeah, without further ado, we'll get into it. As you can see, I've already lifted up the back of my truck. That's one of the first steps here. You want to get your tires off the ground so it's dangling. You know, your suspension is dangling, so you get as much room in between the coils as you'll see here soon. I jacked up on my receiver. Not sure if that's the best idea, but I just did that temporarily while I put in jack stands on each side. I'm sure you could easily just jack up each side of the truck and slip jack stands underneath it as well. But that is not how I'd recommend working underneath it. Make sure you have some support under there so you don't get crushed if something slips. So yeah, the next step is going to be just to take your bellow here, take off the little cap that comes with it, and you're going to need that, so hold on to it. And then you'll fold this up. You're just going to get all the air out of it. Once you've got all the air out, slip your cap back on so then it stays deflated. Because what you'll have to do is fold this up hot dog style, and that's how you're going to slip it in to your coil. It'll just go in, and you can use, they say, a tire iron, for instance, something with a blunt end on it, so you can help push it on it. So we'll slide under there and get this in place. Alright, so under the truck now, I got my bellow kind of folded up like a hot dog like they recommend. Now, they say to stick it through the lowest one here, so we'll just start pushing her in, I guess. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so now that it's in there, you're supposed to reach up and take off that little cap so then it inflates itself, or reflates itself. So that's that cap there. I guess just kind of maybe give it a little help to regain its shape. There it goes. Perfect. So that's it as far as installing the bag itself. Now it just stays like that. Alright, so now the next step is just going to be to route our airline to it. So I've kind of selected a way to do it, so I'll show you an overview once we're done here. So what we got to do is get it down through the top of the space, or top of the tower here. Maybe I'll just go up for now. There we go. So now we got it coming out the top. We'll just pull our excess through. Being that this is the first one I've done, I've got a fair amount of hose here. Alright, so now that that's done, I'm going to slip my spacer here over it, because that's got to go up in there. Then the next step will be, in the hardware bag there's little clamps, just little hose clamps, and then I'll use one of those and slip it over our airline here. I got to grab my pliers. So we'll take our clamp like that, squeeze it, and we'll slip that over the end and give it enough room so then we can still push this on, and then we'll slip down our clamp. Alright, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to try and compress this a little bit just so I can see what's going on again. Alright, so there we can see that nipple there. And then we'll slide our end of our hose over that. I'm sure this angle sucks for you guys, but hopefully you can see and understand what I'm talking about. Alright, so once you got it seated all the way, you'll just slide your clamp down here. Grab our pliers. And seat it over the end. There you go. We'll slide our protection spacer in here. Pull our excess hose out of there, and we'll let it reinflate. And that's it for the installation then of the bag itself. Then what you'll do is route your wires the way that you'd like them. I can show you real quick kind of what I'm thinking for mine. As you can see with mine, it comes out of the top of the spring tower there. And then I'm just going to zip tie it to these wires here. Then I'm actually going to poke in through this hole right here. Let me grab the light. Hole in the frame, and then I'll use that to take me all the way back to the rear here and pop out right there. And then I'll ride these wires along here to join up with the other side. So I'll get busy working on that portion of it, just the routing process, and I'll do the same thing I did with this shock on the opposite side to put that bellow in there. And I'll show you once we get to probably the T connection then. We'll catch up with you guys then. So I got my two airlines here. This is from my left, obviously, and this one's from my right. And like I said, I'm going to be doing the T method. So they give you this little T here, But what you're going to have to do is slip your clamps on. So what you're going to want to do here is then expand your clamp, slip it over your air line, and then you'll slip it onto one side of your T. Okay. You can slide that clamp down now. Now we'll do the same for the other side. Put our clamp on here. I'm going to try wetting it down just a little bit with a little spit. Push that one on. Alright, then we'll slide our clamp down. Onto that one. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting my valve right here in the I don't know, basically the plastic part of my bumper where the step is. Just seems to be easiest for me. I know some people drill it in the bottom of their bumper. I'm not going to do that for fear of rust, happening from wrecking the chrome alloy on it. So it's going to kind of get a ballpark. And I mean, my line basically could go right out the front of that, so I really don't need much. So I'll just give myself a little bit of play here. I don't know, about 4 or 5 inches. And you just want to make sure when you're cutting these, you're doing it nice and square. One of these tube cutters is pretty nice for that. And then they give you your valves here. So it's the same principle. You're just going to slip that on there. Yeah, definitely getting them a little wet helps big time. Alright, so I'm going to drill my hole. I got a 5/16 drill bit on here. And I want it up high enough where I'm not going to kick it with my foot if I step here and accidentally bump it. So I'm going to put it up a little high. Worst case scenario, I can always just take a little plug and plug that up. Should I ever remove them, which I'm kind of doubting. But I don't know what the heck I did. I must have misplaced one of these clamps. Either that or I didn't get it. I don't know why they went throw on a few extras for you, but whatever. I'll just have to, go get a new one of them. But yeah, so you'll stick on a nut here. Then the tooth washer. And I'm going to be trying to kind of make this as minimal exposure as possible. So once I get it in there, I'm going to make it so that the cap is snug and flush. So then it basically is only that sticking out, just that little bit, versus having this huge thing protruding. So I'm going to just attach it to my T here. Like I said, I'll have to change this up a little bit eventually, but alright, so now that that's on, I'm going to stick it through that hole I drilled now. Then we're going to be doing a rubber washer, a regular washer, and then another nut on the outside here. That looks like it's about perfect distance in already. Just check it here. Yeah, that should be perfect. Just gonna snug up that nut back here. And I'll go grab the air hose and put a few pounds in here and check for leaks. Alright, so we got our air hose here now. The minimum is 5 psi, the maximum is 35. You want to test it out at the maximum right now. So that's 5 pounds. Alright, there we go. That's 35 now. Then we'll take our spray bottle and just go check all of our fittings. Alright, so we just got our spray bottle here with some soapy water in it. And we'll just check all of our fittings. And to do that, you're just looking for bubbles. As I'm doing this, I'm just going to zip tie up any of the wires that are looking to be in the way. Alright, you guys. So as you can see, I mean, I didn't have any air leaks. But if you were to, you'd want to just try and take it off then, clean it up, see if there's anything in the joint or anything like that that would be causing that leak. But even if you don't have any right now, what they say to do is fill up the airbags and then wait over like a 24-hour period, like overnight, and see if there's a drop in PSI. And they say if there's any more than 5 PSI drop, you should be looking for a leak. So that's what I'm going to do as well. But other than that, I mean, everything's looking good. I hope this video helped you out. If it did, please give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. I have numerous other videos on the RAM as well as all sorts of other things I do. But anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good one.